start, there is a 12 certificate on this.
Oh,
particularly
good.
if you're eating food.
Ah, even better.
Would you say that's fair, Susie? I think that's...
Yeah, 100%.
I'm thinking of a 15.
Really? Wow, how has this got through?
For food eaters, anyway. Which is, I guess, everybody, but, not particularly at the moment. Father Simon, brother from the other gutter, Sister Susie of Mercy and the General Confessional Collective, says Rona, I have led a good and conscientious life. There is, however, a recent event for which I do believe I need to seek your charity, your understanding, and most of all, your forgiveness. It's been a very hard couple of years for everyone. Well, most people, with restrictions on social gathering and activities, but I have had the good fortune of living in North Wales since moving back here a few years ago with my boyfriend in order to work for the NHS. It is where I now call home, and the hills in our backyard are our playground, and also for our dogs. You must understand, though, Father Simon, that we always practice the country code of never leaving anything behind, and the only things that we take away with us are photos and memories. Now, you should know that before lockdown, we acquired a new dog, a golden-coloured, long-haired mini bear. It was a kind of mongrel kind of dog, which we somewhat appropriately called Pooh Bear. This was a great idea at the time, and at home we, of course, just shortened it to Pooh, but in practice, we have found, sometimes to our embarrassment, you can't really go around field shouting, Pooh! At the top of your voice in public, and you definitely get some very disapproving looks. At the time of the first lockdown in Wales, we were lucky enough to be able to walk directly from our garden into the hills without meeting anyone, and could therefore continue to enjoy the wilderness, blessed with an even more acute tranquility given that the general UK public were not otherwise allowed to be present. Nevertheless, we did miss our friends, and so what joy, therefore, when the residents of Wales were again allowed to spend time with each other outdoors, when the rest of the UK was still in lockdown. To celebrate, we decided to go socially distanced camping with some friends of ours who lived in the local town. However, whilst enjoying our freedom, so did Pooh. He decided to roam far and wide, and it wasn't long before he disappeared, and the cry went up, "Where's Pooh?" said my boyfriend. "Pooh!" we shouted. "Where are you, Pooh?" This went on for a while. Then, as if perfectly scripted, he came bounding back, moments later with his special "look at me, I'm handsome" swagger, the same kind of walk that John Wayne would muster up after a few shots in the bar when he was either looking to impress one of the ladies or stared down one of his male rivals. Maybe I'm getting carried away with this particular line of thinking. Anyway, running around, Pooh Bear was clearly very, very proud of himself, strutting like a peacock on heat.
Okay.
However, his hair seemed to be greased back with something, like a neatly coiffured John Travolta. He'd clearly been rolling in something, and it didn't take long to work out what. Oh, Pooh.
Oh, dear.
And then followed a very, very long session of having to A, catch the dog, and then B, wash him off in the river, while swearing at how long hair really doesn't lend itself to easy cleaning without shampoo. Now, no matter how much we washed the dog, Pooh Bear still stank of, well, you get the picture.
Yes.
Cutting our losses, we decided to break camp and made our way back home again to give the dog a good bath. However, our journey home required a good hike back across areas which until recently had been empty, but on this day were teeming with several hundreds of tourists from England, all of whom had decided to break their own lockdown rules by coming to Wales. As people walked up the hillside, happy to be out once more and gleefully sticking two fingers up at their own lockdown, I mean, imagine that happening.
Imagine.
They enthusiastically, but there weren't any drinks trolleys anywhere. They enthusiastically greeted Pooh Bear with a hearty pat and rub down, tickling behind the ears, stroke his tummy, as he bounded up to them, completely oblivious to the fact that Pooh really should have been the epitome of social distancing. So now here's the thing. I might have to skip over some of this.
Yeah.
Father Simon, exactly. Father Simon, the collective forgiveness. It is at this point I feel I must ask for your tolerance. There will no doubt have been quite a number of hikers who accused others in their group of acquiring a new, albeit unwelcome, smell as they wandered up the hill. However, I feel no remorse for this, as they were breaking lockdown anyway. Instead, I feel I need to seek forgiveness for my own actions, or perhaps lack of them. In my eagerness and excitement to get out camping and enjoy the stunning wilderness when the Welsh lockdown lifted, I should have taken a moment or two and briefed our friends who we were camping with prior to letting them loose on the beautiful countryside. Our friend, I have to report, looked very mortified by proceedings. We believe he might have been involved. In fact, he might even have been responsible.
Oh dear.
And it is therefore for this reason that I seek forgiveness for not potty training our friends as I should have done, as I now do with all the guests, and which led to this unfortunate incident. I hope you'll understand that the excitement and I don't know how this got through. The excitement and eagerness for the fresh air and campfire camaraderie led me to rush into this slightly unprepared, but from which I've learnt a valuable life lesson, and that is to never buy a long-haired dog again, which is clearly the moral of that story.
Yeah.
Okay, the story of Rona and Pooh Bear. The voice of responsibility and authority is Sister Susie.
Well, Rona, I just think if you're going to go camping, why don't you go to actual campsites that have toilet facilities where you can use them, where your friend can use them? But I just think you should have kept your dog away from other people if he rolled in whatever he did roll in. So therefore, I can't forgive
Whatever
you.
it was.
It could have been. We don't know what it was.
We don't know.
Might have been a nice lolly.
It could have been that, or it could have been. I mean, it's all nature, isn't it? Circle of life. Great. I thought to finally have John Wayne and John Travolta in the same confession. Yes. That hasn't happened far too long, as far as I'm concerned. Here's the rule as far as dogs are concerned: you don't pat other people's dogs. That's the way it is.
Well,
and if you hadn't patted the dogs, then guess what? You wouldn't have your hands covered in the whatever thing. So for that reason, I choose to forgive.
So it's
because
the